Hello everyone. Welcome to another exciting episode of Elvis the Ultimate Fan Channel. Obviously coming up is You Can Call Me Free on the Facebook Messenger. We have the final round of Fan of the Month quiz. Song of the Week, Elvis Song of the Week. This Day in Elvis History, Elvis Photo of the Week, poll results. Don't forget the poll results, what I asked you to vote on. I just love that tune, you know that? It reminds me of Sunday nights and Wednesday nights, or Wednesday afternoons, depending on where you are. Hi, how is everybody? Everybody is saying hi, Steve. Hello, all. If I'm buffering a little bit, just bear with me. I would say that it's coming and going tonight. It's awful weather. Don't believe what you see behind me. It really is very, very bad here. Torrential rain and wind. So I thought I'd plonk myself behind Chino Canyon. Elvis's, what did they call it? Graceland West, I think they called it. I did a special on it a few weeks ago, actually. And that's what I think they called it. So let's get down to a brass tacks, as they say, with this week's topic. As I say, coming up, the final round of Fan of the Month quiz, Song of the Week, and it is a absolute belter this week. Song of the Week is an absolute belter. Well, it is to me anyway. And what I mean by belter is it's a really, really good one. I know people are going to say, well, all Elvis's records are good, all songs are good, but this one, just every time I listen to it, it makes me smile and it makes me sing along in the car at the top of my voice. Okay. Photo of the week. You're going to enjoy the photo of the week. I know you are. I'll be revealing the poll result as well. But before we go any further, let's get into the topic. And you will have seen the photograph of Elvis from Charro and him saying proof that Elvis was a great actor. And I'm going to go through three of his dramatic movies, and we'll discuss them, and I will tell you why I believe that he was a great actor. People are asking why I didn't include Jailhouse Rock or King Creole or those sort of things. It's simply because a few weeks ago I actually covered King Creole, Jailhouse Rock, Love Me Tender, Loving You. Right. I hope I'm coming through okay. I do see a red light every so often, which normally tells me that I am buffering a little bit, but just bear with me. It could be the weather. In fact, it's almost certainly the weather. So the first one was Flaming Star. Elvis Presley as Pacer Burton, Barbara Eden as Rosalind Pierce, Steve Forrest as Clint Burton, and Dolores Del Rio as Neddy Burton. Elvis plays Pacer Burton, the son of Kiowa mother and Texan father, working as a rancher. His family, including half-brother Clint, live on a typical life on the Texan frontier. Life becomes anything but typical when a nearby tribe of Kiowa begin raiding neighboring homesteads. Pacer soon finds himself caught between the two worlds, part of both but belonging to neither. And the critical receptions, in other words, what people thought of Flaming Star. The film received generally positive reviews, with a few critics lauding Elvis's performance and noting his improvement as an actor. Now that's quite interesting, because don't forget, just before he went into the army, he did King Creole, and they're saying that his improvement as an actor. Of course, he did GI Blues as well when he first came out. Second one, Wild in the Country. Elvis as Glenn Tyler, Hope Lang as Irene Sperry, Tuesday Weld, yes lads, Tuesday Weld as Miss Noreen Martin, Millie Perkins as Betty Lee Parsons. Based on the 1958 novel that The Lost Country, The screenplay concerns a troubled young man from a dysfunctional family who pursues a literary career. The screenplay was written by playwright Clifford Odets. Glenn Tyler, Elvis, a childish 25-year-old, gets into a fight with and badly injures his drunken brother. A court releases him on probation into the care of his uncle in a small town, appointing Irene Sperry, Hope Lang, to give him psychological counselling. Marked as a troublemaker, he is falsely suspected of various misdemeanors, including affairs with Irene. Okay. Eventually shown to be innocent, he leaves to go to college and become a writer. The film received mixed to negative reviews from critics. Bosley Crowther of the New York Times wrote, "Nonsense, that's all it is, sheer nonsense." And Mr. Presley, he couldn't even call him Elvis, he had to call him Mr. Presley, who did appear to be improving as an actor in his last picture, Flaming Star, I suppose, is as callow as he ever was. So people thought that World in the Country was a step down from his last dramatic picture, Flaming Star. Then we move on to Charro, 1968. Jess Wade is played by Elvis. Ina Balin was Tracy Winters. Victor French, very distinguished actor, as Vince Hackett. And Barbara Whirl as Sarah Ramsey. Charro is a 1969 American Western starring Elvis Presley, as we know, shot on location at Apache Junction movie ranch and Old Tucson Studios in Arizona. Uniquely, this was Elvis's only film in which he did not sing on screen. And the film featured no songs at all except for the main title theme, which was played over the opening credits. Now, we know that Let's Forget About the Stars was supposed to have been included as well, but that was dropped. It was cut. It was also the only movie in which Elvis wore a beard. The film was novelized by Harry Whittington. It was the only Elvis film distributed by National General Pictures. The film made a profit, but was not a runaway success, and remains one of Elvis's least seen films. Well, I'd agree with that, although I did see it recently on the Sky television network here in the UK. Excuse me. So it says it remains one of Elvis Presley's least seen films, despite being regarded among his best in terms of a straight, non-musical acting performance. The role of Jess Wade was originally offered to Clint Eastwood, who turned it down. The budget for the movie was estimated to be $1.5 million. Now, $1.5 million in 1968 was a lot of money. Working title for the film included Jack Valentine, Johnny Hang, and Come Hell or Come Sundown. Elvis signed up to the project with high hopes after reading the serious, song-free script, but was left disappointed when he arrived for his first day of shooting on July 22nd, 1968, to find that the script he had originally signed up for had been changed beyond recognition. Most notably, the opening scene, which was to feature female nudity, it says that they actually bare their breasts and so forth, was dropped in favor of a more gentle bar scene. So Elvis was disappointed maybe in the fact that maybe he felt duped. I don't know. Maybe he did. I don't know. I really don't know. The film, although a hit, was not received as well as Elvis's previous films. Fans were put off by the lack of songs, and critics were generally unimpressed with the film as a whole. Despite this, the film made a good profit, and Elvis received $850,000 for his work. Now, what I'm going to say now is that for anybody that, we all know that Elvis's films, movies, whatever you want to call them, do get ridiculed and they're made fun of and so forth. But if you look at these three films, Flaming Star, Wild in the Country, and Charro, you can actually see Elvis's potential as a dramatic, serious actor, without question, in my eyes. And we know why he wasn't given these roles as much. Again, King Creole, again, another one. The reason why I didn't include King Creole in the poll and so forth and this is because we covered King Creole a few weeks ago. What I was going to say was they weren't as financially successful as the Blue Hawaiis and the Paradise Hawaiian Style and the Follow That Dream and, you know, all those other ones. Kid Galahad was another great movie, great songs in it, but you couldn't really call it a dramatic role. Although, you know, there was some really, really good fight scenes in it. So that's just really what I wanted to say. If anybody ever says, you know, that Elvis's movies were just a little bit of fluff and 12 songs, 13 songs around a silly plot, tell them to watch King Creole, Flaming Star, Wild in the Country, and Charro. Now, what happened after Flaming Star and Wild in the Country? They didn't make the money that they were expected to make. They didn't make the money that maybe say Loving You didn't make. GI Blues. Don't forget, GI Blues was a huge success in more ways than one. And GI Blues, Blue Hawaii, we know now that they outsold Elvis Is Back. I know Elvis Is Back isn't a movie. It's a, excuse me. It's an album. It's Elvis's first album that he recorded after he came out of the army. I'm pretty sure that Colonel Parker would have pointed out that Blue Hawaii way outsold Elvis Is Back, and the way they should go is the nice, sunny, feel-good pictures based in Hawaii, like Girls, 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 Blue Hawaii, Paradise Hawaiian Style, you know, Follow That Dream, because, you know, Wild in the Country didn't make the money that they expected, because he did sing in it, but it was supposed to be a dramatic picture. Charro was made, I believe, just to fulfill and finish up Elvis's obligations that he'd signed up to in the mid-60s. So there you go. I really, really do believe that those three films that I've highlighted tonight, they do prove that Elvis Presley was a good actor. He had the potential to be a good actor, or he could have been a good actor. He was a good actor. It's as simple as that. He was a good actor. And most people that say Elvis wasn't a good actor and he never made a good film, or all his films were just beach movies and things like that, tell them to watch Flaming Star, Charro, and Wild in the Country. Let's see what we have here. We do have a call coming in. Hello.
Hi, Steve. It's Duncan.
Hi, Duncan. Nice to speak to you again.
And to you, how are you? All right?
Yeah, brilliant. Now, what do you think of the points I've made so far?
Yeah, I think when we're looking at a topic like this, there's two sides to it. That you've on the one side, you've Elvis showing real glimpses of being a great actor versus a lot of the films and the scripts that he did not living up to his talent. And being let down by, so you've got him as a potentially great actor on one side in films that were potentially not as great as he was. Does that make sense?
Yes. Well, he was certainly let down with Charro, because when he originally read the script, as I say, there was nudity and everything, quite, and that was quite sort of risque for 1968. And then, of course, they after he signed up, they completely changed the screenplay.
Yes, and if you look at the director of Charro as well, if you look at Charles Marquis Warren, was essentially a TV director, and most of the work he had done was TV. And Charro doesn't have a big feel to it. It feels quite claustrophobic in many ways. Even the outdoor scenes feel quite fenced in.
Yeah,
and it didn't have the kind of depth or size that the likes of Flaming Star had. And I think that and the way in which it was directed also affected Charro.
Yeah. Now, I would have loved to have seen Elvis in what's that big movie? The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I think he would have been splendid in the role as the good, the Clint Eastwood role. I really do.
Absolutely.
Just such a shame. But of course, I don't think there's any way that Colonel Parker would have allowed him to have filmed.
And that's a key to it, isn't it?
Yeah.
What Parker would have allowed and didn't allow. I mean, you see, even in films, even in the less dramatic films, even in those, you see his comedic timing is really, really good. It comes through in Follow That Dream, comes through in even Girls, 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 the two-hander scenes with Laurel Goodman and him. The comedic timing comes through even in films that were not as dramatic. Like So Wild in the Country, for example, we mentioned. Some of the scenes in there, the courtroom scene at the end, the scene where he declares his love for Mrs. Sperry, are incredibly powerful scenes of cinema.
Yeah, I agree.
And a very decent script with emotionality, and a film that took a proper serious treatment of its subject matter. But again, it wasn't what the public had come to expect from Elvis. It wasn't what Parker wanted, because it wasn't pulling in the money, and he was so focused on the money and not on the growth of his artist.
Yeah,
which is annoying. And because even when you look at, if you take, for example, you take something like Kissing Cousins, that was shot from start to finish in about 3 to 4 weeks. There's not the space in there for any actor to craft a performance to the standard that Elvis was capable of.
That's true. Yeah. I think Kissing Cousins was filmed over 18 days. Believe it or not, unbelievable.
It was a ridiculously short amount of time for a film. And when you look at like A Change of Habit, for example, which I like. Again, it was a more contemporary character for Elvis to play, and there was a level of dramatic scenes and emotional scenes in there.
Yes.
That allowed him to show the light and shade in his performance.
Yeah.
That some of the other scripts made it harder for us to see, but they were clearly there. I mean, you've only got to look at the other scripts that he was reportedly offered that Parker vetoed.
Yeah, well,
we're all for example.
Yeah, we're all aware of the Barbra Streisand one as well, weren't we? A Star Is Born.
The Star Is Born. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you think what could have been in those, such a potential that was unrealized.
Yeah, but as I said, if you look at these three, Flaming Star, especially Flaming Star, Charro, and Wild in the Country, it's not the potential. He was a good actor.
Absolutely. You can see in those films a quality of acting that the general public don't associate with Elvis, sadly. And you want people to see those films.
Yeah.
And to see what he was capable of doing.
But they never show them. I mean, I recently saw Charro on Sky, but I haven't seen Flaming Star for years. Well, I've seen it myself, but I haven't seen it on television. And Wild in the Country. When was the last time Wild in the Country was on? Probably in 1977 rarely. When he died, you know.
It's very rare. And again, though, that's the same thing that was driving Parker, is a notion that, well, an Elvis movie needs to have all the songs in it for folk to want to watch it. And it's sad that the EPE are not pushing those dramatic films, releasing them again, perhaps into cinemas and short runs, wee festivals of them, to sort of push and raise the profile of him as an actor.
Yeah.
Because the quality of acting is clearly there. Yeah. You can even see that in some of the really poor ones. His charisma, his presence, and in some of the scenes where he lifts it beyond where the script is.
Oh,
He makes
yeah.
more of it. He makes a lot of a poor script.
Oh, yes, I
So
agree. I mean,
definite talent there.
he rose films a lot higher than what they deserve to be just by being in them himself. His charisma, as you
Absolutely.
say. Yeah. So,
Absolutely.
but there you go.
So I think, yeah, amazing. There's definitely.
You make
Thanks. Nice
great
to talk
points.
to you,
Yeah.
Steve.
Cheers. Bye bye.
Cheers. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye. Yeah, so as always, Duncan making great points there. I have just got to send a quick message here because there is a possibility that I could cure the buffering problem I'm having. Could be something else downloading on my connection, and it is causing problems. I know people are saying that I am actually buffering, but I'm going to plow on. What we're going to do is we're going to do the fan of the. No, we're not. We're going to. Hi, Maxine.
Hey, Steve.
Tell me, how am I coming through tonight? Am I buffering much?
A little bit, but it's not too bad. It goes quickly, so.
Yes. Okay. Right. I've just sent a message to somebody who might be actually downloading something on my connection. So hopefully, when you have daughters,
Yeah.
So what do you think about Elvis's acting?
I thought he was brilliant in his early movies in the 50s, and then leading up to the 60s. I think after Wild in the Country and Follow That Dream, I think they started going downhill quite a bit, personally speaking.
Yeah.
It's just the same storyline where he's beating up someone, or he's getting beaten up and he gets the girl.
Yeah, well, I must admit, I thought the last decent movie of the 60s was, well, when I say the last decent movie, before they started getting, what we term as poor quality,
cheesy,
was Viva Las Vegas. After Viva Las Vegas, I think that was probably, I mean, he then did Kissing Cousins. Yeah. Even though Kissing Cousins was released before Viva Las Vegas, it was funny. Viva Las Vegas was filmed, then Kissing Cousins, but Kissing Cousins came out first. They swapped it around. And as I said to Duncan, they filmed Kissing Cousins over 18 days. As I did, I think they did the same with Harem Scarum as well.
I didn't like Harem Scarum.
No, well, it's been ranked as probably one of the worst Elvis movies, along with Easy Come, Easy Go.
Yeah, I didn't like that one either.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not criticizing him as far as, I mean, he could just look at those three films.
Brilliant actor.
Yeah.
But then if you look at,
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go on. Yeah, please.
I was going to say, if you look at King Creole, I think that was the starting point of where you could, and Jailhouse Rock, you could clearly see.
Yeah.
He had it there.
Yeah. What about that scene in King Creole where he smashes the bottles and says, "Now you know what I do for an encore"?
Oh, that was just.
I mean, there it is. Like, he could have done the James Dean role in Rebel Without a Cause as well. Definitely.
Oh yes, definitely. He could have 100%.
I can see him fighting, doing the flick knife fight quite easily in there, so yeah.
Yeah. Even the fight scene in King Creole with the knife part, I thought he was brilliant there.
Yeah.
It's just like, but it all comes down to the Colonel again, and like how the script is written, and a lot of them were cheesy after Viva Las Vegas. So.
But you see, they made money because Hal Wallace said in the mid to late 60s, there's only one sure thing in Hollywood, and that's an Elvis Presley movie. So, while the money was coming in, they weren't, I suppose it's the old adage, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And that's what Colonel Parker was probably telling Elvis. Look at the money that Blue Hawaii made. Look at but look at the money that Wild in the Country made. It didn't make anywhere near the amount of money we expected it to make. Let's do the beach movies. Let's do the girls. Let's go to Hawaii again. And I'm sure it was probably hard for Elvis to argue, because at the end of the day, don't forget, Elvis liked money as well. He liked the money to come in. He liked to have a good time. He liked to buy the cars and the
yes, he
homes and
did.
so forth, So he probably thought, well, yeah, maybe Colonel's right. I know, but it did make him ill in the end. He even said that, didn't he, in the interview he did with
He
the
did,
producers of
bless him.
Elvis on Tour. He says, no, all the money in the world couldn't make me feel good about what they were asking me to do. So,
No, it's just like when you said when they wanted like the women's boobs out, I was like, you can't surely want him to be in a movie like that's just not really his sort of way, is it? But
well, some of those bikini movies were a bit risque. I mean, look at Tickle Me, when they were doing in the exercise yard, and the young ladies were bending over, and the camera was, and then you've got the camera on Anne Margaret's backside as well in the opening scenes when she first meets Elvis. I mean, some of those movies were quite risque anyway, so bare-breasted women in 1968 wouldn't have been that much of a jump, I suppose.
No, but because he had young fans as well, it's like, what are they going to sort of think? But
yeah, I do. I get your point. Yeah, I do. I get your point. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Then.
Thanks, Maxine.
Thank you.
Talk to you again.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah. Very interesting topic, to say, what would Elvis's fans have thought of that opening scene had it been left as it was with bare-breasted women in Charro? Maybe it would have done him a favor. Maybe it would have got him a new audience. The thing is by the time he was making Charro, he had just finished work on the 68 NBC special. There were rumblings that he was going to go back to live performances, and also he was just fulfilling the movie contracts. He didn't have any more movies lined up after these that he had to do. He hadn't signed for any more. Hi, Jeanette. How are you?
Hi, Steve. Happy Sunday.
Yes, good to hear you again.
Likewise.
And what do you think of Elvis's acting in those three films?
Oh, I thought he was so good in those films. I have mixed emotions. I just feel sorry for the guy that he got such poor quality scripts. But at the same time, he was a grown man and he could have read contracts. He could have gotten involved in the business part of it. I don't know why he did not do that. Was it just too much for him?
Yeah, well, I think some of the Memphis Mafia boys said that Elvis never bothered to read the contracts after the first few movies. He just signed on the dotted line after Parker told him how much he was getting, how much of the profits he was getting, and how long he'd have to be tied up to make this movie.
And that's what I don't understand. I mean, you can't complain too much about scripts if you don't speak up and say, I'm not doing that movie, or, you know what I mean? I don't understand that. And I never will. And I know a lot of people don't like to read before they sign the dotted line. They don't bother to read, everything in between. They just sign it.
Yeah.
But sometimes that could lead to disaster. So
well, as we know, it did. Yeah.
It had so much potential.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he did. But as I've said many times this live stream, he didn't. He wasn't. He didn't just have the potential. He was a good actor. Those three films and even King Creole shows that he had it, definitely.
Well, to me, he wasn't the greatest actor in the world. I mean, that'd be stretching it as much as I love the man.
Yeah.
But when I say potential, I mean to even get better at his craft, and to show people, hey, look, I'm a well-rounded actor. I don't just do romantic comedies.
Yeah.
And sometimes for me, when I'm seeing one of his films, and I think, oh, this isn't that great. To me, part of that reasoning is because not only the script is bad, but supporting cast sometimes just bothers me. Like when I'm watching Stay Away Joe, and as much as I like, Burgess Meredith, I'm like, I don't know, something about him rubs me the wrong way in that movie.
Yeah.
And some of the movies that I don't care for too much, it's the soundtrack that saves it for me. Of course, I'll watch it because it's Elvis, but the music or just the fact that he looks so, I know it's going to sound shallow, but just so beautiful on camera.
Oh, yeah.
It just saves the film. But like I said, supporting cast sometimes rubs me the wrong way. And
You made a really, really good point there, saying that, you know, you'd watch it just because it was Elvis, and probably, you know, Parker knew that to a certain extent. It didn't matter what they put Elvis in, you know, people would watch it. And I agree. I mean, there's Elvis films I watch simply because Elvis is in it. If there was anybody else in it, I wouldn't go within 100 miles of it, you know.
That's right. Yeah, I know that sounds kind of shallow, but you know, hey, I'm telling the truth here.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking if he was more selective with his scripts, I think I could be way off. I think he would have gone out on tour more and had more time for music, because if he was really, really selective, he probably would have made a film only once every 2-3 years. I mean, he should have waited for the really, really, really good scripts, and then in between, go out and make some more music, record more music, and tour.
Yeah. Well,
you know, that way he wouldn't have spent the whole 60s in the movies.
Yeah, because I mean, at one point he was making 3 movies a year, and basically it was quantity, not quality. If he'd have just gone and made 1 movie a year, that would have been,
make it a good one.
But but Parker couldn't see that. Parker thought, well, if we make 3 movies a year, that's, you know, $3 million. That's great. Instead of 1 really, really good film. Yeah.
I agree, and you know, we all know Parker knew what he was doing.
Yeah, well,
and he did to see you in a film without singing, and he convinced him of that. And sure, it didn't make as much money, but it still was his life and his creative and process and his artistry that he wanted to show everybody, that he wasn't just a singer, he could also do other things as well and be good at it.
Yeah.
And I could sit here and say, he should have done this, why didn't he do that? And I'll say that, you know, till the cows come home. But I can't help but wonder, man, if he would have kicked Parker to the curb, found somebody that would support him in his artistry as an actor and to help him, instead of constantly telling him, no, you can't do this, telling him why he can't or shouldn't do something. That's non-supportive to me, and that's not what a manager should be about.
I think he saw Parker as his talisman. He knew full well that Parker got him started and got the right start. He knew that Sam Phillips couldn't do what Parker had done, and I think there was always that little bit of a doubt in the back of his mind that if he kicked Parker to the curb, as you say, then it'd all be over. Of course, we know it wouldn't be, because he was too much of a star. He was, you know, he would have burned brightly even without Parker. But I suppose what it was Parker lit the blue touch paper. That's what it was.
Yeah, Parker was good for a season. That is true. But if you're not, like I said, if you're not going to support the person you're managing and encourage him and I don't know, and help him, I don't think Parker did that after all that cash started rolling in. And that totally limited Elvis. And again, that's where I feel bad for him. He needed a different manager. Even, you know, his friends knew he had what it took. Yeah. You know, but he didn't have the confidence. Yeah. Why? Because that's all Parker told him.
Yeah.
He didn't tell him otherwise.
Yeah. Okay, Jeanette,
anyway.
As I say, it's always a great pleasure when you call in, because you make your point so eloquently and you make lots of sense. You really do.
I try. I don't know. I try, but everybody have a good evening or day. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you,
You're
Jeanette.
the best. Great show.
Okay.
Bye now.
Bye-bye. Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree with what Jeanette says, you know, kicking Parker to the curb and so forth. I don't know whether she said he was good for 1 season. I would say a little bit longer than that, because he kept Elvis definitely in the limelight, and he made sure that Elvis had a career to come back to after the army. But from 1961, 62-ish, after that, I think maybe a parting of the ways would have been beneficial for Elvis. I really do. Let's do the Fan of the Month quiz. And basically, this is the last round of... what month are we in, people? September. So this is the last one for September. We will have a winner tonight, and I will let you know on Wednesday who the winner is. And it's, ladies and gentlemen, it's double features again. And the double features are Kid Galahad and Girls, Girls, Girls. So there's 3 questions on Kid Galahad and 3 questions on Girls, Girls, Girls. I hope that my internet connection holds up because of the weather and so forth. Question 1. Where did the location shooting take place for Kid Galahad? Help me out on this, Maxine. Let me know who is the first right correct answer. And yeah, I mean, if I get it wrong, let me know. Where did location shooting take place for Kid Galahad? Yeah, I know. Let's have a look. Now it's buffering. Yeah, but it's buffering just as we do the quiz. Okay. Great. I don't really want to go away and come back because it would spoil the whole of the live stream. Let's have a look. Okay, who do we have? I took my Paul Gansky, Idlewild. I think if you can just Maxine, if you can just tell me, am I right? Paul Gansky. Okay. It is Idlewild in California. And I think Paul Gansky was the first correct answer. Maxine, did you confirm that it was Paul? Yeah, I know some people are saying freezing and buffering. Unfortunately, there's not a lot I can do about it tonight. Unfortunately, Paul Gansky, well done, great. There's not a lot I can do about it. Unfortunately, it's very poor weather here. It could be affecting my internet connection. We'll move on. What was Elvis's character's name in Kid Galahad? Okay, and again, I'll try not to take my my eye off the screen too long. Let's see. I know I'm probably buffering, but the sound is still okay and so forth. So we will carry on. What was Elvis's character's name in Kid Galahad? And I believe that the stream is getting even worse because I'm seeing a constant red light now, whereas before I was only getting flashes of a red light. So yeah. And of course, I I don't reset the my internet because we'll lose the whole stream. So yeah, it really, really, really is bad. I'm wondering, can I go on to something else? I wonder, can I? I don't know. I might just reset something after this last question. Who played the boxing promoter Willie Grogan in Kid Galahad? Yeah, I know it's buffering, Mark. Yeah. As I've just said, there's not a whole pile I can do about it. The weather is quite bad here. Although I have a green light at the moment, so we should be okay. I've got a red light again. Has anybody heard this third question? Who played the boxing promoter Willie Grogan in Kid Galahad? Gig Young. Duncan. Hi, Duncan. Yeah, well, I'll tell you what I'll try and do. I will try and go over to another way of getting the internet, but you will have to bear with me. We've got Gig Young. We've got another 3. So let me go into connections. This will work. If you lose me, don't say I didn't try. I'll come back. If I disconnect, unfortunately, we could lose the whole stream. That's the only thing, which is not a good thing. Okay, hopefully this might switch over now. I'm not sure it's going to switch over.